Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET Paper 1 educator. In this video, we are moving forward with the program, the 30-day program, the last lab. In the previous lectures, in the previous classes and videos, we have done multiple questions which were based on research aptitude. Be it the probability sampling technique, be it the hypothesis testing, be it, the types of variables and what are the characteristics of research. We also have talked about various types of research paradigms, right? So in today's lecture, we will be moving forward. In today's video, we will be moving forward with certain other concepts which are really very important from the examination point of view and for the last minute purposes that you have for your UGC NET examination. So let us just firstly start with the very first question that I have for you for today. The application of ICT in research is relevant in which of the following stages? So here you are going to see a little, focused in a focused manner that where that is most relevant, right? So pause your screens, look for the answer and then, see what the answer is exactly. The answer that we have here, which is correct, is option B, right? And B says option 1, 3 and 4. 1, 3 and 4. If we talk about these three things, ICT is the most important or relevant thing which we will require. Let's just see how. If you want to do surveys, in the traditional surveys method, people used to go and collect. But now, in today's time, we can collect data using mails, right? Using Google Forms, etc. So how can that be done? That can only be done through the usage of ICT. And what is ICT? Information and communication technology, anything and everything that comes under ICT, the internet, the web, the www pages, etc. We will be dealing with ICT in detail in some other lectures. But here, when we talk about the application of ICT in research, we all should know that it has now, amalgamated with the research field as well, right? So, we need it for the survey part. We need it for the data analysis. Usually, people in the previous times, they used to traditionally and manually enter the data, right? Kept the records with them in the physical format and then analyzed it manually. But with the advent of ICT, the data analysis has been easier with the usage of certain softwares. Correct? And data analysis, which took so long for people to, when they were conducting research, which took so long for them because they used to have so much of data. That task has been made easier with the usage of ICT now. Writing the thesis. Now, when a person whosoever is enrolled in PhD or doing his or her research, writing dissertation, thesis, article or any kind of journal or paper, what he or she will do? They can write the thesis on their computers, right? They can store it manually. Let's just talk about the example of Google Docs. Right? This is an online platform, right? And whenever you see that the research which is being done by you are saving it online with the usage of internet, that document, regardless of that, will be stored on the cloud storage. Usually we had Microsoft, right? The Microsoft presentation, the Microsoft document, etc. But now with the advent of Google Docs as well, if you make a document online, that document will be stored on your drive, right? For the cloud storage part. So here we can see with the emergence of ICT, internet, etc., the field of research has also been, improved, right? Because the things have made, these things like the tools, the ICT tools have made things easier for the researcher to conduct his research, right? Moving forward with the second question, which is statement based, read the two statements. Statement 1 says, data analysis in research being a technical job, the research ethics do not matter, right? Statement 2 says ICT is helpful at almost all the stages of research. So you see how they have talked about the two statements. Now you have to choose the correct statement amongst the two. So pause the video and see what would be the answer for you all. The answer to this question is option D. That is, statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. Now how and why do we say that? If we talk about data analysis and research, even if it is a technical job, and even if we talk about the research ethics, why do you think they do not matter? They do matter. The research ethics matter, the data analysis, even if it is a technical job, that matters for the person who is doing the research, right? So they said that they do not matter. That means this statement is incorrect, right? Hence statement 1 is false. Coming to statement 2, and these are not assertion reason based, because assertion has to agree with the reason has to be there, providing the justification of the assertion, but these are two completely different statements which are there. So coming to the second statement, ICT is helpful at almost all stages of research. So even if you want to do literature review, even if you want the hypothesis to be formulated, your data collection, data analysis part, so somewhere or the other, from minute to the major aspect of your research what you are doing, you need ICT, right? Hence statement 2 is true. Moving forward with the third question. Now you are supposed to tell me that the various steps for creating the Google survey, Google forms, right, using the ICT applications. So some of you might have made Google forms, some of you might not. So you might try making that. But what is the usual step? How will you create a Google form? So pause your video, see what is the option which is correct amongst the 4 of them. The answer to this question is option C. A, C, B, E, that is 4th, and D, that is 5th. Correct? So first of all, we will be looking at the explanation of this very question. You have to select the question type and create. You are supposed to choose if you are going to ask MCQs, if you are going to provide the students or the people, whosoever the participants are, for the collection of data, right? Because you can collect data using the Google Forms. So what you are going to do? You have to be clear about the types of questions which will be there. Those can reach out from the questions, that is multiple choice using the checkbox, right? Multiple selection for MSQs, or for objective type questions, which is usually the MCQ, right? So you are supposed to choose if the person can choose more than one option using the type of question that you want, or if amongst the 4 or 5 questions they can only choose one pinpoint, right? Second question is make questions mandatory or keep options. So keep them optional. So one thing which comes with Google Forms is that at times they will provide you with certain fields, right? So first field could be email, and where you might see this asterisk, right? This star which is there. If you talk about the name or educational background, they might leave this field optional with no mark here, but name and email, whichever field they required the information from, they will mark that field as mandatory, or the fields for which they do not really require information, they will keep them as optional, right? So second step. Third step, give name to the survey form and save. So if you want to conduct a survey on the people who like eating oats, right? So you will name the survey, name the Google form which is there, and then you will save it. Correct? Configure the settings according to that how are you going to send it. You need to configure, you need to save certain settings for the Google form which will be there. And then at the last point of time, when your Google form will be made, you have created the form. Now you will have to share it with the respondents, which can be used or sent via link or via mail or SMS, howsoever you want it. So because of the advent of the internet, people usually use these two things. They do not use the SMS part. So then you will send it to the respondents, to the participants, whosoever are there for the participation in the research, and then you will see how they are replying. So at the end, you will have the responses with yourself saved on your, Excel sheet will be created because of the Google form, and from therein you can access your data and see how many of people were against something, how many of people do not like eating oats, how many of them do like eating oats, right? Then we have next question. Use statement 1. Use of ICT in research is a superimposition which should be discouraged. That it is being imposed, it is being mandatory, right? Statement 2. Research ethics and its observance has to be mandatory requirement. Pause your screens and see what could be the answer to this question. The answer to this question is option D. That is, statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true. How? Let's just read the statement 1 once again. Now, if you use ICT in research, obviously that thing is your personal choice, and that is making things easier for you to collect data. You do not have to collect papers and all, and your data collected in a hard copy manner, right? You are collecting and saving it on one page or one document on your computer, etc., on one system, so that you can access it time and again whenever you want to, right? So it is not a superimposition. It is not being imposed on you, but it is your personal choice because it is making things easier for you, right? And they said it should be discouraged. Why should this be discouraged? It should not be discouraged for the fact because people in today's time are moving forward with technology and we are not moving backward, right? So we should know what is making things easier for us and we should choose ICT if we are doing research, right? Hence, statement 1 is false. Statement 2 says research ethics and its observance, the ethics and morals which we need in research, the confidentiality, the honesty, the integrity, etc., all the ethics which are there and their observation has to be a mandatory requirement. Yes, because a researcher, if you will be using some other person's, citations, you are using some other person's books or even let's just say thesis of a particular person, that is incorrect, right? But if you are doing something ethically right, which is obviously a part of research ethics from which different questions also form, right? So when you talk about the research ethics, they should be a mandatory requirement so that the usage of resources which is being done, the people who are there involved in the participation process, they are not harmed. The sources which are referred to are cited, right? So every person, whosoever is using some other person's intellectual property, their journals, their articles, etc., they all should be given the due credit for the same. Hence, obviously, research ethics should be mandated, should be, made mandatory. But on the other hand, ICT is a personal choice because it makes things easier for us. Then we have question number 3. Name the scheme which facilitates academic and research collaboration between Indian institutions and the best institutions in the world, right? So this is obviously something which is related to the research schemes. So pause your screen and try to answer the question if you know this. The answer to this question is option C, which is Spark, right? We will be moving forward. Now let us just see what are the different types of research schemes which the Government of India and the Ministry of Education in its entirety has brought up for the students who are wanting to pursue PhDs. Right? So what are those types of research? What are the types of schemes that they have given the provision to the students or whosoever wants to do their PhD? The first scheme that we have here is Imprint. So take your notebooks out wherever you want to write or jot these points down because from schemes the questions are asked. Hence I have incorporated some 4 or 5 slides based on the schemes, and then we will also be doing the phases in data analysis when we use ICT in research, right? So first of all, doing the schemes, wherever you want to jot them down, you can. The full form of Imprint is Impacting Research, Innovation and Technology. right? So jot this thing down, and it was launched on November 5th, 2050. Even if you don't remember this date, you are supposed to memorize the year, correct? What are the basic aims of the scheme Imprint? Number first aim is to create an education policy for inculcating scientific temperament and innovation skills. So Imprint scheme is basically related to encouraging something related to science. Science and scientific thinking should be encouraged, right? To develop the research roadmap for technology preparedness, right? So science and, let's just say, science and technology are the main focus of the scheme titled Imprint, right? So you can jot these things down. The other thing that we have here is Gyan. The full form of Gyan is Global Initiative of Academic Network, right? Global Initiative of Academic Networks. And it was launched in 2015, the same year as the year of the launch of the scheme Imprint, right? So it was launched by today's Minister of Women and Child Development of India, that is Smriti Irani, right? So she launched this very scheme titled Gyan. Write this thing down, right? And what are the basic aims of Gyan now? We talked about the Imprint and the aims being technology and scientific innovation and curiosity, right, which is there. Here the Gyan scheme is the one which aims at tapping the talent pool of scientists, experts, entrepreneurs, to engage with institutes of higher education in India to augment the country's existing academic resources. So various scientists, various experts and entrepreneurs should come collaborate together to improve the skills, to improve the education of India, right, and their existing resources which are related to the academia. Then accelerate, which means pace up the pace of quality reforms, if there is any reform related to the field of education which is required, and further strengthen India's scientific and technological capabilities, right? So this one obviously is also aimed at science and technology, but that too with the help of experts in particular fields. Correct? And where is it located? The office of Gyan is located in AMU Aligarh. You need not remember the whole address obviously. In Aligarh, its main office is there. Then we have Spark, which was asked in the question, right? Aims at improving the higher education institutions ecosystem by facilitating academic and research collaborations between Indian institutions, this was what was asked, and the best institutions in the world, right? So you see the question was a PYQ, and how this thing they have directly picked up from the website of the MOE. And where we see, if we talk about the MOE, that is the Ministry of Education, it has given us these various kinds of research schemes which are there. So they are directly even asking questions from the schemes which are there, right? So academic and research collaborations, that the people, the experts in Indian institutions should collaborate with the people or the best institutions in the world for the part of research and innovation, right? So here the focus is research, right? Academy and research, but with India and the best institutions. So India and abroad is the focus here. The collaboration of people in India and abroad. Correct? And you should note down the full form here as well. Scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration. So even if you memorize the full form, you have these three words which tell us what the scheme is all about. Scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration. Correct? Then we have the scheme Impress, impactful policy research in social sciences. So first of all, jot down the full form of the scheme. and it is used to encourage, as the name also suggests, it is about the social science, right? So Impress is something which is related to social science research in policy relevant areas. If there is any reformation that needs to be done related to the social science research, right? To provide vital inputs in policy formulation, implementation and evaluation. So as I told you, policy relevant areas, which are those? If they want to formulate any new policy, if they want to implement it, and if they want to evaluate the effect of that very policy on the people, right? And to have enhanced coordination between academics and policy makers. So basically here we have social science plus policy, right? And as the name suggests, impactful policy research in social science. So policy formation and social science is related to the field of Impress, the scheme of Impress. Then we have STRIDE. STRIDE stands for Scheme for Transdisciplinary Research for India's Developing Economy. Jot this point down. The main aims are to identify young talent, strengthen research culture, because these are all research schemes, right? To build capacity, promote innovation, because research is also innovation in itself, right? And support transdisciplinary research, which means that multiple disciplines can work together. If I am from a scientific field and you are from an anthropology field, right, we both can, have a collaborative research done based on science and anthropology, right? So transdisciplinary research, as the name suggests, scheme for transdisciplinary research for India's developing economy, right? So it means that the national development is the goal here of this very scheme. To fund high impact national network projects in the identified thrust areas and in humanities and human sciences and Indian knowledge system. So basically, if you ask me what is the main goal of this very thing, to obviously bring forward the transdisciplinary research, right? For what? For the development of India, because through research as well, the economy develops, right? So this is what we have for in the type of scheme which is there, that is STRIDE. Then we have STARS. We have talked about Spark. Now it's time to talk about STARS, right? Which is Scheme for Transformational and Advanced Research in Sciences. So even if guys you memorize this very thing, their full forms only, you all will be able to know what the scheme is all about, right? Coming to the launching year 2019, right? For promoting translational, I will tell you what is translational. It is not related to translating something, no. India-centric research in sciences to be implemented and managed by IISc, right? That is Indian Institution of Science, Bangalore. So this is the main center, IISc, that is the main center of Bangalore, which will manage and implement this very scheme. Correct? Now, if coming on to the translational part, translational research is something which is done in the field of medical sciences to see that if a new drug will be launched, if a new medicine which will be launched in the market, will that legit have an impact on the people? So that is translational research for the betterment of the society using certain medicinal sciences, right? So that is what we talk about. If we're talking about science, translational research is here for the humans, right? And if there is anything which will cure certain diseases, certain kinds of, ailments which are there, those things will be done using this very research, this very scheme. So there are 6 basic thrust areas which are physics, because also all of these areas are related with science only. Chemistry, biology, nanosciences, data science and mathematics, and earth sciences. So these are the 5 or 6 thrust areas where people will be dealing, right? And especially it was launched, a very important fact to note down here, it was launched on the National Science Day. So science scheme launched for the scientific development and the translational development in the society, which will be headed and implemented by Indian Institution of Science, which is in Bangalore, right? Then we have phases in data analysis. Now moving forward with the research schemes, I hope you all have jotted down the important schemes of research, right? Now we all should be knowing, if we were talking about the application of ICT in research, how ICT is used. So there are 3 stages in which ICT is used. Number 1 stage is pre-data analysis, right? Let me just write it for you here. Data analysis using ICT. So there is pre-data analysis. Then when we collect data, we do the data analysis, and then we have the post data analysis. When we have collected and analyzed the data, then we are going to do reach the third stage, that is post data analysis. So what are these 3 data analysis stage in ICT? When we do research, when we conduct research, obviously we are going to gather certain kind of data from somewhere, and first of all, even before gathering the data, we are going to think of the problem and we are going to formulate the hypothesis, right? So how all that thing we can use it using the ICT part is what is the main focus here. So first phase is the pre-data analysis phase, which talks about the sample type. What kind of sample are you going to choose for your research? The sample timing, how long will it take for you to collect that very sample? Sample heading, like what kind of population will be there, what will you call that sample? And sample identification, right? How are you going to identify that very sample for which you are going to collect the data, right? So phase 1 is titled as pre-data analysis phase, helpful for the literature review of any topic. And by literature review, I mean that reading anything related to the research problem. So the researcher, if he or she is doing research in English literature and they want to do a research on a particular topic, they will read certain novels, plays, books, poems related to that very topic only, right? So that is what is known as literature review. That is done before we collect the data and analyze it, right? E-library, you might collect various articles or journals from the e-library or the sources that you have there. Google Translator, there might be some things which you might not be able to get. How can that be done? Using the Google Translator. Surveys can be done using Google Forms, that too in the pre-data analysis phase only. And here, this is a software which is used to manage, share and find literature content. So this is just a factual information that I would like you all to note down, right? So we have pre-data analysis phase. So we have Gyan course, JSTOR, Google Scholar, Shodh Ganga, Microsoft Academic Search, etc., from where we can collect data related to the literature review, right? We can read books, we can read journals, articles, someone's book reviews, etc. We all can do that from these very websites as well, these very portals as well. Then we have phase 2. If we talk about phase 2, in phase 2 we can either collect data that is quantitative in nature, right, which is measurable, and the kind of data which is not measurable, which talks about the opinions and all, that is qualitative in nature, which talks about something in depth, right? Not on the surface level, but in depth, right? So qualitative data, quantitative data can be collected from data, SPSS, and can be used to store the same data. Qualitative data and quantitative data can be stored here as well, or analyzed using MATLAB, R, SAS, and GraphPad Prism. All of these are quantitative, quantitative softwares, data analysis software. And if we talk about the qualitative data analysis softwares, we have Google Drive, right? We have Dropbox, Atlas, we have SPSS, text analysis, because we want something in textual format, the views, opinions of people related to a particular concept or the question that you have asked to them. NVivo, Transna, etc. used for video transcribing, right? So if someone has given you data in the video format, how can that be translated? That can be transcribed using the Transna software, that is qualitative software. Then we have the last phase, that is phase 3, to share the findings with academia as well as the general audience which is there. So if you see certain articles on the internet which are available for all, it is because the person has done the research, right? And he has done and given the research findings to the people to get it published, right? So for the purpose of sharing it with academia, that is done. For bibliography and referencing, right? So we have Microsoft Office packages. We have software tools like Scribble, etc., which can be used by people, right, to jot certain things down or, you know, reference, to use the formats or styles of referencing. So there are particular softwares as well, so that you do not have to manually cite anything, right? And you can use the type of citation that you want, be it MLA, APA, or, you know, Chicago style. You can choose it, and those sites or the portals will do that for you. And plagiarism checker, which is really important. We have plagiarism checkers like Dupli checker, and most important of them all, which is in the paid version, that is Turnitin, right? So these are the types of softwares where you can upload your research paper and see if it has not been plagiarized, right? The quotations, obviously, if they are cited and the references have been given about them in your work cited or the references page, only then those won't be counted. But the entire thing that you have written, your thesis, your dissertation, all of that should not be plagiarized at all. Right? So this is what we had for today's video, where I would, shared with you all about the application of ICT, right? And how it is used in different stages. Also, we have talked about the different schemes which have been, done, which have been implemented by the Government of India, the Ministry of Education, for the research and innovation part. Right? So I will be meeting you all with a new video, with the new concepts, right? Until the time, you all keep on studying, keep on smiling. I will meet you again. Thank you so much.